Before we begin, thank you very much to Roman Q for joining my Patreon campaign. Very appreciated. Thank you so much for the support. Guys, tomorrow it ends. I only have one shout out to go, and then I get to do my normal intro again. I know everyone's super excited for the return. It's going to be the same boring intro it's always been. But yeah, it's literally been months since I just did a plain intro in a video. So thank you guys for the incredible show of support you've had lately. It's meant the world to me. You know, if it continues, it continues. If not, then hey, we'll just get back to shout out some other time, right? So it is news roundup time. This is, as usual, a very big Rise of the Beast week as far as news goes. I think that's pretty much going to be it until the movie comes out. But we do have some other things from the world of Transformers to talk about. So, starting off with, we got a brand new set of computer listings for things that are showing up in store computers. So we get a little bit of an idea of what's going on. So, meanwhile, over at Target, we have official listings again for Hound and Hatchet, the deluxe buzzworthy figures that got announced months ago and then just like vanished off the face of the earth. Hasbro hasn't even acknowledged that they were announced. We've had no info on it whatsoever. But we found out that they're also going to be joined by another product, BB Bumblebee 2, which we have no idea what that is, only that it is a buzzworthy Bumblebee toy that is a Bumblebee of some type. Could be a reissue of one of the Studio Series Deluxes, could be something completely new, we have no idea. But it looks like it's going to be in the deluxe assortment along with Hound and Hatchet. So, more Bumblebee. I mean, in buzzworthy, that makes sense, but you know. Over in Amazon's, we're getting another multi-pack for Studio Series. We have a comic 2-pack on the way. No idea what that's going to be. There's another capsule figure. No information on that, but we do know that Nacelle is going to be an Amazon exclusive. So for those wanting super obscure Seekers in your collection, that's where you're going to have to go to get those. 2 more Walmart retro reissues, 6 and 8, now have product numbers and they are set for release. I can't even remember, like, obviously there's a 7 in there too, so, like, obviously these are not going away anytime soon, which is a cool thing because I do really like the idea of taking the G1 toys and making them as accurate to the cartoon as possible. I have the Hot Rod. It's the Hot Rod still on my desk, I can see it up here. But I didn't go for the Starscream. I don't know, like, the deco just wasn't different enough. I'm more attached to my vintage ones. Alright, and then over at Pulse, we have Gen DTC1, no idea. DC2, which is Leader Shattered Glass Grimlock, and then 3 and 4 as well. So we have more exclusives on the way from Hasbro Pulse. Should find out more about those soon. Considering they're in very similar product numbers as Grimlock, I would expect them to be more Shattered Glass releases, because that seems to have been a super popular subset of figures for them. Who knows? Well, Hasbro knows, but we don't know. But when we find out, we'll know, and I will tell you about it on some Monday in the future. So let's take a look at a whole bunch of Rise of the Beast toys that we've seen for the very first time, starting off with another RC. I'm actually, like, shocked at how many RC toys there are in this line already. Usually, like, bike Transformers are super limited in what they can do, but we've seen a lot of different takes on RC, which is kind of cool. You can have a whole crew of these red RC bikes and still have, like, a unique toy in every one. This is another Beast Alliance figure. It comes with the Battle Master Chidor, and you can see, unlike a lot of these, they've basically shuffled all of her motorcycle wheels to the back rather than incorporate them into the legs like they are in the movie. So you get something more akin to like an Energon RC out of it. So if you need something a little bit different, or you want a cleaner looking RC robot with the traditional big backpack of parts, because that's just how RC goes, you have another option available to you. So, moving on, we're going to go through these a little bit quicker than normal, because I know these news roundups take a long time. Alright, Optimus Prime now has a larger Beast Alliance figure, much more akin to the Energon armors, or the armor figures we got for Cyberverse. And this one is Lion Blade, and it is very Lio Convoy inspired, which I think is a really cool choice. Not only because it does make that big chunk of shoulder armor makes sense, but it's kind of combining the two primes, which I think is a neat little choice. I haven't gotten one of these larger Beast Alliance figures yet, but this one is actually looking a lot better than some of the others. I really like the idea of a imitation Lio convoy combining with Prime. This might be the one I go for. Who knows? Or I might get the Primal and Alligator one at some point. I might get Primal and Skullcruncher because I'm a sucker. Whatever. I want to dip my hands into a little bit of everything. Rise of the Beast, even if I'm not going like full on the entire toy line, just enough to know what's going on, right? So, another option available. All right. Oh, we have seen Battle Masters for Rhinox. We've seen them for Chidor. We didn't want to leave Optimus Prime out, Optimus Primal out. So he now also has his own Battle Changer design. He turns into a gigantic cannon, kind of akin to Prime's G1 blaster, but much heavier. Ironically, out of all the Primal toys I've seen, this is the one that comes closest to just having a normal gorilla proportions in beast mode. Me human now. Me stand upright. So look forward to seeing these stolen off of their cards at your local Walmart soon. Along with everyone else. The only time I have seen these Battle Masters in person so far, it has been just empty cardboard. I'm so happy windowed packaging is coming back. All right, more Rise of the Beast on the way. We've seen this. This is where Hasbro's getting super weird and they're not like communicating what's coming out, because this is another one of the flex changers. This is the official shots we have for Chidor. This has already been found. People are already finding flex changers and Hasbro hasn't even acknowledged their existence yet. Weird. Hasbro, you've got a live stream. You got like a Tuesday live stream you do for Transformers. You're aware you can do that every week, right? I am now producing more newsworthy content than you are, just by reporting that flex changers exist. But yes, flex changers exist, and Chidor's looking he's a little bit weird, so of course they are, because they're one-step changers with a new gimmick. So if you need like a quick change Chidor, that is a thing. It looks close enough to Beast Wars Chidor for a one-step, I think. It's sloppy in some parts. You're going to on one-steps. But I know people like the gimmicky figures, and admittedly, I have one or two on my desk just as little fiddle toys. So, if you need one, take a look. It might already be available. Alright, first look at... This will be a very simple one to get through. This is the only photo we have, and this is just very simple. It is a Titan changer for Scourge. If you've never seen a Titan changer, go to a Walgreens sometime. They're usually there. It's for the lower markets that don't want big, expensive, like $35 Transformers on their shelves, but they'll take a $10, like, super quick thing that, just a goofy little changing toy for a kid. They're usually super cheap. They're usually, like, 1 or 2 step transformations, nothing terribly complicated. But again, this is, you can tell the products that are aimed at kids because they're the ones that have more color added to them. Scourge has been treated very much like past movie Megatrons, where they know for a kid they need some kind of color on them. They can't release just one big monochrome toy. So, just like those old Megatrons, they're trying to any trick they can to throw color on there. We've seen them in bronze, we've seen them in green. I'm sure we'll figure out something else at some point. But yeah. No, that's Battle Trap. I was thinking there's an Ironhide repaint that's orange too, but no, that's Battle Trap. I'm losing track of my orange trucks. All right, but if you're collecting the oddities, this is a really odd one to collect. So there you go. All right, mainline Mirage in-hand images, and he's looking really nice. I'm surprised at how some of the mainline toys are looking here. So he is a little bit more simplified than the Studio Series is going to be. He has a battle mask face, which I presume will appear at some point in the movie. But he looks pretty good, actually. Considering he is like part of the more inexpensive figures, it looks like he's got a decent range of articulation. The detailing on him is nice. There's just enough paint to be interesting. Not a whole lot of junk on the backpack. You can see here where, there's shell in there, but it's, pretty flat and compact. And you can see that the forearms for the toy are carrying a lot of the front end bulk of the vehicle, which is a nice little change of pace. Yeah, I really like how the kibbles distributed on this thing. It actually looks good. It actually looks solid. And the vehicle mode doesn't look too shabby either. Yeah, I'm actually kind of looking forward to this. There's the box, if you're curious what the box is going to look like. Yeah, I'm actually kind of looking forward to this one. Obviously, like, it went through some color changes. The black tires would have been nice to keep. But you can't have everything, I guess. So, it's still really cool looking. I'm looking forward to it. If you missed out on the Studio Series Grimlock, and I mean the first one based on the movies, not the 86 one, good news. It looks like Buzzworthy is going to reissue it, which is actually not a shock. This is a mold they only got one use out of, not a shock that they would want to use it again. If you didn't see it in person, it's going to be something of a system shock for you because it is a very large leader class toy, especially compared to what we get sold as leader classes today. I really like the toy. I think the deco that they accomplished in robot mode especially is incredible. There is some weirdness to the articulation. You know, like, it's not like a fully robust figure as far as like what they could do, but I do think it's visually impressive. So if you missed out on it, it's worth picking up again, or it's at least worth taking another look at. All right, moving on. Behold, Furai Action Leo Prime. No, I do not mean the model kit. No, that's just your standard Furai model. No, Furai Action is the model pre-built, pre-assembled, and pre-painted to be far more premium in quality than what you could typically build out of the box for a model kit. So, for a little bit of extra money, you can have the model pre-built, ready to go, with a very, very nice premium paint job attached to it as well. Perfect for those who love the look of the toy, but are a little bit impatient or just don't have the time to sit down and build models. I have a pile of shame for model kits right now, and there may or not be another one on the way, so I can absolutely understand that position. But it's an option if you want. It's still a beautiful figure. I don't know if I'm willing to pay $60 for a pre-assembled one, but someone out there will. All right, so speaking of premium, the DLX collection from ThreeZero has announced his Bumblebee Movie RC, who looks beautiful. I really like what they did with Arcee in the Bumblebee movie. Face might be a little bit too broken up, but beyond that, like, I do like the overall shapes. I like the overall look and colors to her. If you need a super premium action figure one, here you go. It's on the way. Nothing more to say there, because this is literally the only shot we got, so I can't go into detail about it. But it is a really cool one. No details, I think. They just literally announced it. But we'll probably find out more probably in the next week or so. All right, so here's one that I'm not going to delve into. I'm just going to point out that it exists. So thanks to a French website that posted biographies for characters for Earthspark, we have found Jawbreaker's Earth Mode. This is a long-running storyline in Earthspark. It is a really good storyline that I will not spoil for anyone else. Suffice to say, they do not show the alt mode, but they say what it is, so you can look it up. And all they really show is his Earth mode once he has scanned it. I have seen it. I do think it is really cool. I do think it is a really cool choice that they made. If you want to see it, go to TFW 2005 and check the spoiler link. But for the sake of my respect for the show, I will not be showing it or informing about it here. Just suffice to say, even if you want to be like totally Earthspark spoiler cautious, be aware there's a big one floating out there now. Here's a surprise. So out of nowhere, Legacy Breakdown has a variant that was discovered. So we have what is essentially a more toy-accurate version of Breakdown, where a lot more detail has been painted in to replicate his stickers. You can see on the right side here that his chest has been painted differently to represent just that like straight bar of blue that the original G1 toy had. Most notably, the head is completely different and now is more toy-centric than the original. There's some detailed differences. He gets the blue gun instead of the black. Here you can see all the different paint apps that have been added in order to replicate some of his original sticker detailing. Yeah, it's an interesting find. It's a very interesting find. It makes me wonder if they've got other... Well, obviously, if this exists, they've got other plans for the Stunticons. But in my head, I'm imagining if we may potentially get a gift set version of the Stunticons that just has everyone in more toy-accurate design rather than cartoon. For this set, personally, because it is so heavily based on the cartoon look of Menasor, I'm far more inclined to have the cartoon version, which I do. It's behind me right now. But for those who need a second chance, because I know things like Motormaster, Breakdown, even Wild Rider to an extent got really difficult for some people to find, hopefully this means there's going to be another option to at least have the toys, even if it is a different style of the toy. So be on the lookout. I'm sure we'll figure out more about this soon. Yeah, you can see even the car mode has had a lot of changes to be different in accuracy. It's interesting. So some people agreed with me on Twitter. A few people gave me flack for this. I'm going to stand by my opinion on this. So the International Cake Show in Australia, where everyone goes to show off their culinary skills, someone designed a gigantic life-size Camaro Bumblebee that is entirely edible. It mentions lights, sounds, and moving chassis, so clearly not 100% edible. But yeah, there is a life-size Bumblebee Cake that existed at one point. Now, don't get me wrong. This is a super impressive feat. Not only because, it looked, okay, it looks like a Camaro melted in the sun a little bit, but it is like a full-size cake Camaro. It is incredibly impressive to look at. I don't like things like this. I personally do not like things like this because this is just like an absolute massive waste of food. I really hope this got dragged off to like a middle school somewhere, just dragged in the middle of the courtyard and said, everyone just get a handful of Bumblebee during lunch hour. If you want to make just a super fancy cake that sits on a table, fine. This is an extreme. Yeah, I'm not a fan of when artists do this. It just seems like such a waste. Learn how to be a sculptor. You're clearly a great artist and a great painter. Learn how to work with clay. Learn how to work with clay. Work with something that doesn't rot. Work with something that, couldn't be used for a more practical application, like, feeding kids in a country where poverty is on the rise, That might be nice, too. So that's my little virtue signaling for the day. If you like it, that's fine. That's fine. I just think there's better use for it. I think a tabletop-sized cake of Bumblebee would be just as impressive. All right. And we're going to end it off with probably some of the weirdest news I have seen. So, randomly, out of nowhere, Optimus Prime from Rise of the Beast showed up at Coachella to introduce Toby Nagui to the stage. I have nothing. I have nothing for this. I have absolutely nothing for this. It's just one of the strangest things. Like, who thought as part of the Rise of the Beast campaign, the marketing campaign for this movie, Prime's going to show up at Coachella? It's such a weird thing. So the clip is available on the Transformers Twitter page, and you can see it mirrored on TFW 2005 if you want to go see it. If you want to go see one of the most surreal moments of Peter Cullen's life, it is now available for you to see. And that's going to be our news roundup for the week, which, intro out aside, I got in under 20 minutes. Whew. Hopefully they can all be that quick coming forward. But we got so much news for the movie coming out. We got so much to cover lately. I'm sure we've got another stacked news roundup coming at you next week. But for now, thank you for watching. Hope you're caught up on your news for the week now. I will see you next time. Guys, I am facing the most powerful enemy any YouTuber can face, the algorithm, and I need your help to defeat him. hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Every time you do, we attack that algorithm and we drive it back until it can no longer defeat this channel. Thank you very much.